Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Going to be giving you my predictions for Manchester United's game against Chelsea this Sunday at Stamford Bridge. So, score prediction, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. And I think the goal scorers for Manchester United will be Cristiano Ronaldo and Marcus Rashford. Chelsea's goal scorers, I'm going to go with Romelu Lukaku and Christian Pulisic. So that is your predictions. I'll be giving you my predicted 11 either on my next video or it will be sometime tomorrow. Michael Carrick will be in charge for this game against Chelsea. Michael Carrick won his first game in charge as interim manager because Manchester United recently beat Villarreal 2-0. The goals in that game came from Ronaldo, and we saw Jadon Sancho score his first goal for the club. Reflecting on the win against Villarreal, Manchester United qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League with still one game to spare in the group stage. I give Michael Carrick a lot of credit because I thought his game plan was correct and his substitutions were correct. Of course, Manchester United lost their last league game to Watford 4-1, and that ended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at Man United. Now, you know the news on Ralf Rangnick. Manchester United are set to appoint Rangnick as interim manager on a 6-month contract. Ralf Rangnick will not be in charge for the game against Chelsea as he's waiting for his work permit. Rangnick is the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. When he was at Schalke, he won the German Cup. That was back in 2011. He also got Schalke to the Champions League semi-final. And he got RB Leipzig to the final when he was there. He's the perfect fit for Manchester United. So Rangnick will be in charge for the game against Arsenal. The game against Chelsea on Sunday will be very tough because Chelsea are doing really well so far this season. You know, Chelsea are top of the Premier League at the moment and they've only lost one game in the league so far this season. Chelsea are coming into this game on the back of a 4-0 win against Juventus. Chelsea won their last league game against Leicester 3-0. I think Chelsea will win the Premier League this season. Chelsea have got a very good manager in Thomas Tuchel. Last season, Thomas Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea. And he also got Chelsea to the FA Cup final last season. But of course, Chelsea lost the FA Cup final to Leicester. Tuchel has been Chelsea manager for almost a year. He's got a contract with Chelsea until 2024. Before Chelsea, Tuchel was at PSG. Before, he's managed Dortmund. And before, he managed Mainz 05. Last season, Chelsea sacked Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard was in charge of Chelsea for around 18 months. Obviously, Lampard is a Chelsea legend. He's their all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals. Before Lampard, Chelsea had Maurizio Sarri. Maurizio Sarri only lasted a season at Chelsea. When Sarri was Chelsea manager, though, he won the Europa League, and he also got Chelsea to the League Cup final. Before Sarri, Chelsea had Antonio Conte. Conte did win the Premier League in his first season when he was Chelsea manager, but despite that, Chelsea still ended up sacking Conte. Conte is obviously now the Tottenham manager. Before, Chelsea had Jose Mourinho. Obviously, they sacked him. Mourinho endured 2 spells at Chelsea. And obviously, he won Premier League titles when he was Chelsea manager. And before, Chelsea had Di Matteo. I think they also sacked him. At one point, they had Gus Hiddink. They also sacked him. One point, they had Rafa Benitez as interim manager. I think they sacked him. At one point, they had Boas. They sacked him. And a while ago, they had Carlo Ancelotti, and they won the Premier League under him, but Chelsea still sacked him. Chelsea must have sacked a good 12, 13 managers since Roman Abramovich, bought the club. Chelsea have got a very, very good squad, like I mentioned on the preview. Obviously, they've got Romelu Lukaku. He's done really, really well since he re-signed for Chelsea. Chelsea got him last summer. Lukaku will play in this game, so he will be reuniting with Manchester United. Lukaku is a former Man United player. And Lukaku did well at Manchester United. He enjoyed a couple of years with us. At the time we got Lukaku, we got him in a deal worth 90 million. We paid 75 million up front and there was 15 million in add-ons. We did get him from Everton back in 2017. We actually sold Lukaku to Inter Milan, then obviously went to Chelsea from Inter Milan. Timo Werner, now I think he has improved, but I don't think he's done as well as a lot of Chelsea fans expected. Chelsea got Timo Werner from RB Leipzig. He'll be in contention to play in this game. Chelsea have also got Kai Havertz. He's done really, really well at Chelsea. Chelsea got Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen. They've also got Christian Pulisic. I'm hearing that he's been linked with a January move to Liverpool. Chelsea did get Pulisic from Borussia Dortmund. Chelsea have also got Callum Hudson-Odoi, decent player, still young, got a lot of development in him. Chelsea have also got Reece James, very good young player. He's predominantly a right back, is Reece James. They've also got Ruben Loftus-Cheek, he's another young player Chelsea have got, and they've got that Mason Mount, that's good. He's another young player. They've also got N'Golo Kante. Now, he's definitely one of Chelsea's key players. Kante's actually got an injury at the moment. Chelsea got Kante from Leicester. Kante's won the Premier League as a Chelsea player. He also won the Premier League when he was a Leicester player. Kante is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Chelsea have also got that Kovacic. Don't really know much about him, to be honest with you, but I know that he's out with injury. They've also got Jorginho. I think they got Jorginho from Napoli. To be honest with you, I don't really rate that Jorginho, but he has had his good games as a Chelsea player. Chelsea have also got that Christensen. To be honest with you, I don't really rate him. They've also got Ross Barkley as well. Was at Villa at one point, wasn't he? And at one point he was at Everton, and Ross Barkley was at Everton for a long time. Chelsea have also got that Saul Niguez. They got him on loan from Atletico Madrid last summer. If you do remember rightly, Manchester United tried to get him. Chelsea have also got Ben Chilwell. He's a left back. Chelsea got Ben Chilwell from Leicester. Chelsea have done very good business with Leicester in recent years. Chilwell's actually got an injury at the moment. Chelsea have also got Alonso. I think he's another left back. One of Chelsea's centre-halves is Rudiger. I do highly rate Rudiger. I think he'll be playing in this game. They've also got Thiago Silva and Milan Sarr. Chelsea have also got Azpilicueta. Chelsea have 3 goalkeepers. I think their first choice goalkeeper is Mendy. I think the second choice is that Kepa Arrizabalaga. In that Arrizabalaga, the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. Chelsea paid over 70 million for him, didn't they? And they've got that other goalkeeper, Bettinelli. I think they got him from Fulham last summer. I think Chelsea, though, did make a mistake getting rid of Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard was very good when he was at Chelsea. He was a long-serving player at Chelsea. He endured like 7 years at Chelsea. Obviously, from Chelsea, Eden Hazard went to Real Madrid. I think he's been a flop at Real Madrid. He really has been a flop. And a few years ago now, if you do remember rightly, Chelsea had a transfer ban. I think in the end it did get uplifted. So there you go. Man United are missing some players. Obviously, Maguire won't be playing in this game. because Maguire is suspended because he got sent off in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. I think he's got a 3-match ban as Maguire. Varane won't be playing any part in this game because he's got a hamstring injury. Varane is out for another 2 to 3 weeks. It's a second injury he's endured at United because earlier on this season Varane had a groin injury and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. Obviously Pogba won't be playing any part in this game. Pogba's out for the rest of the year with a thigh injury. He suffered the thigh injury in France training earlier on in the season. Pogba may not ever play for the club again. Luke Shaw's got a head injury. He suffered the head injury in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. He did miss the 2-0 win against Villarreal. Obviously, Tellez played ahead of him. I'm not too sure if Shaw's going to be available for this game against Chelsea. Cavani, he's out with injury until December, as you all know, so he won't be playing any part. Earlier on this season, Cavani had an injury. So they're the injuries Man United have got. And Mason Greenwood won't be playing any part in this game because he's got COVID. As you all know, Manchester United have done transfer business with Chelsea before. Obviously, we did get Matic off them back in 2017. Man United got him for like 40 million. We also got Juan Mata off Chelsea as well back in 2014 for around 40 million. So there you go. And Man United have not got a great record at Stamford Bridge. We once went like 8 years without winning at Stamford Bridge. This fixture last season at Stamford Bridge in the league was 0-0. The game at Old Trafford was 0-0 in the league. So there you go. But after Chelsea, it's Arsenal in the league, and the Arsenal game will be a tough game. Manchester United are looking to appoint a permanent manager at the end of the season. If Ralph Rangnick does well as interim, the club may decide to give him the job on a permanent basis at the end of the season. But there's still a lot of talks about Mauricio Pochettino becoming Man United's permanent manager at the end of the season. Because Pochettino is Man United's number one choice. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that earlier on this week. Now, yesterday it did say that PSG rejected Manchester United's approach to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. Prior to Man City's game with PSG, Pochettino said he's happy at PSG and he won't let the Man United rumours distract him. But earlier on this week, there was reports coming out saying that Pochettino is interested in the Man United job, and the Manchester Evening News came out and said that Man United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettino as their next permanent manager. And it said Man United agreed to pay the 10 million compensation for Pochettino. And it said, Pochettino was prepared to quit PSG now to come to Manchester United. Manchester United should have got Pochettino after the sacking of Mourinho, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. Pochettino has a full season left on his PSG contract. I do think Pochettino is a good manager, even though he's hardly won anything. He's proven in the Premier League, which is beneficial because Pochettino managed Tottenham before. He endured 5.5 years at Tottenham and he nearly won the league when he was Tottenham manager, and he guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final back in 2018. He was Southampton manager at one point. He only enjoyed a short tenure at Southampton, but he still guided Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League era. So they're the clubs he's managed in the league so far, and before he managed Espanyol. Other managers have been linked with the permanent role at Man United. You know, obviously there was talks of Brendan Rodgers, but obviously I disregarded Brendan Rodgers because not so long ago Brendan Rodgers dismissed links to the Man United job. You know, he said, I'm proud to be at Leicester, but Man United did contact Brendan Rodgers not so long ago. The other week, Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire. You know, that stirred some suggestions up, and at that point it did mention that Brendan Rodgers was the favourite to replace Solskjaer. Zinedine Zidane, you know, was mentioned the other week. It did say at one point he was interested in the Man United job, but Zidane's wife wasn't attracted to the idea of living in Manchester. But not so long ago, it said Zinedine Zidane he's not interested in taking over at Man United as he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment. Zidane's been heavily linked with a PSG job, hasn't he? He's not too sure though now, Zidane, if he wants to go to PSG. And that Erik ten Hag, you know, he's been spoken a lot about as well. He's a good manager, that Erik ten Hag. I think he's done a really good job at Ajax. He's won trophies with them. He's been Ajax manager for 4 years, and I also like the way he develops young players. You know? But revert back to Ralph Rangnick. Yes, he's coming in as the interim manager on a 6-month deal. It's not official yet, but it's going to happen by the looks of things. Obviously, there was other names that were linked with the interim job at Man United. Obviously, Ernesto Valverde was mentioned. You know, Man United held talks with him, former Barcelona manager. Lucien Favre was also mentioned today. Rudi Garcia, he was mentioned as well. And that Paulo Fonseca was also mentioned. But as things stand at the moment, Carrick is the interim manager. So the game against Chelsea on Sunday will be his last game as interim manager. Reflecting on the news regarding Ralph Rangnick. So Rangnick is the replacement for Solskjaer. Of course, Solskjaer got sacked last Sunday morning following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. That 4-1 defeat to Watford was absolutely embarrassing from a Man United perspective. Don't forget, last week Solskjaer gave a farewell interview, and he got emotional in that farewell interview. Because obviously, you know, it's a club that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loves. You know, he's been part of the club for a long time. You know, Solskjaer did endure 11 years as a United player, and he did flourish under Ferguson's guidance as a player. And of course, Solskjaer was Man United manager for almost 3 years. The club made the right decision sacking him. I don't think the club wanted to sack him, but it come to the point where they just had no choice but to sack him. You know, Manchester United paid Solskjaer £7.5 million because last summer he signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Manchester United should have never give Solskjaer that contract, because I knew for a long time that he wasn't the long-term manager for Man United. But despite him getting sacked last Sunday morning, all United fans still adore Solskjaer. Reflecting on what he's done for the club, you know, Solskjaer is a club legend. He always will be a legend of the club. You know, Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. Obviously, the clubs he's managed in his managerial career, you know, managed Man United's reserve team, managed Cardiff. You know, he got sacked from Cardiff because he got them relegated. He only enjoyed a short tenure with Cardiff. Mulder, he enjoyed 2 spells with them. He won a few Norwegian titles, but they're not a big club. And of course, he managed Manchester United's senior squad. But reflecting now on, he was Man United manager. He gained some experience and he learned quite a few things on the job, but there's still plenty of things that Ole has to learn. And I did say though at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer, and the pressure was definitely on Ole, reflecting on the summer transfer window Man United had this year, because we did very, very well in this year's summer transfer window, made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were major signings, and Man United spent around 141 million. Plus, the board backed Solskjaer well in this year's summer transfer window. You know, the Glazers backed him, Woodward backed him, John Murtough backed him, and Darren Fletcher backed him. So, you know, Solskjaer ran out of excuses in the end, didn't he? Solskjaer did not win a trophy as Manchester United manager, and I said he wasn't capable of winning trophies as a manager. You know, Man United have not won a trophy since 2017. But the expectations were far too high for Solskjaer to exceed as Man United manager, and he was just basically in a position that he should have never been in. But I did feel for him in that interview, revert back to what I said regarding the interview, because the vast majority of the blame has been put on Solskjaer, reflecting on our poor performances. Yes, Solskjaer was partly to blame, because his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot, but you can't just put all the blame on him. You know, players had to take responsibility for those poor performances as well. You know, Ole did get appointed in as the caretaker manager in December 2018, did well in that 3-month period as the caretaker manager, so the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. But with obviously Man United sacking Solskjaer last Sunday, that's now 4 permanent managers sacked since Ferguson. You know, Moyes been sacked, Van Gaal's been sacked, Mourinho's been sacked, and of course Solskjaer got sacked. So now guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.